This producer and artist and repertoire director had a significant impact on Chicago soul in the 60s and 70s, although his influence is often neglected by rock historians. As producer and artist and repertoire director for Okeh Records, he produced songs with major lands that helped establish the Chicago soul sound, as well as lesser known but high quality soul albums by Billy Butler and Walter Jackson. After the mid-1960s, he concentrated much of his efforts on a Brunswick label roster, where he cultivated a stable of excellent soul talent that included the Shy Lights, Tyrone Davis, Barbara Acklin, Young Ho Unlimited, and Jackie Wilson. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Carl Davis. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Carl Henry Davis on September 19, 1934 in Chicago, Illinois, to a family full of musicians. According to Davis' brother George in an interview, Carl couldn't play a note, however he had an ear for talent.
Now, what about your father's side of the family? What's your father's full name, and can you spell his name for us?
Well, my father's real name was William Adams. And when he was a young man, his mother, his father died. And so his mother remarried a guy named Davis. And my father just started using the name Davis. He was never adopted, and there was never any legal papers done. He just started using Davis. So his name was William Adams Davis. And everybody from that point, there was 9 boys and 2 girls in my family. And out of all 11 children, they were all born as Davises, except me. For some reason, we had moved up here at that time, and things had gotten rough. I think he broke his foot, and he couldn't work. So he applied for public assistance. And the guy was trying to tell him, you know, you have to be careful, you got to answer all these questions right, and, you know, so he ended up giving his real name was Adams. So when I was born, my birth certificate said Carl Adams. And I never knew that, because when I started school, it was always under Carl Davis. And it was only until I was 16 years old and I wanted to join the service that I went down to downtown to the city hall to get my birth certificate, and there was no such thing. So I came home and told my mother that I couldn't find a birth certificate. She said, well, go back and see if there's one under Carl Adams. And sure enough, there was one under Carl Adams. So, you know, for a long time I thought I was adopted, you know. But
in 1955, he started volunteering for radio station WGES as an assistant for disc jockey Al Benson. Davis got the job because he knew how to use a typeset machine. But with a reputation as a hit spotter, he entered the record business and rose quickly. In the early 1960s, he helped run the small Nat record label, which had a local hit with the song Night Owl by the Dukees, produced by Davis. A follow-up release, Duke of Earl, which Davis also produced, was credited to the group's lead singer Gene Chandler and became a national #1 hit after being leased to the larger VJ label. Quickly after taking over Okeh Records, a struggling Columbia subsidiary company, he recruited a group of gifted musicians and singers from the Cabrini Green housing projects in Chicago's near North Side. Although the most gifted of them, Curtis Mayfield, was already signed to another company, Davis persuaded him to supply songs for other artists. He produced a number of hit records for major lands, Billy Butler and Walter Jackson. Many were characterized as peppy, brassy arrangements, and danceable, upbeat songs with a Latin tinge, often using songs written by Curtis Mayfield that Mayfield felt were inappropriate for his own group, The Impressions. In addition to that, he continued to make records for Gene Chandler and the Artistics, and he also produced Mary Wells for a short period of time after she left Motown. In the mid-1960s, he began working for Brunswick Records, where he produced Jackie Wilson's comeback hit, Whispers, and The Million Selling Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher, Barbara Ackland's Love Makes a Woman, as well as several early hits by the Shy Lights. At the same time, he established the Dakar label, which was responsible for a string of singles with Tyrone Davis such as Can I Change My Mind and Turn Back the Hands of Time, and also achieved success with Hamilton Bohannon. When the Dakar label folded in 1976, Davis formed Shy Sound Records, continuing to find success with Walter Jackson and having a major hit single in 1978 with Gene Chandler's Get Down. After a distribution deal with 20th Century Records ended in 1981, Davis used independent distribution for 2 years before closing Shy Sound down. Discouraged by soul music's fall from fashion, Davis left the music business in 1982 and worked as a security guard and a chauffeur. Although the company experienced a brief resurgence in 1989, it reopened in 2007 and remained functioning until Davis' passing. Carl Davis was remembered during the 55th Grammy Awards on February 11, 2013, in a memorial picture tribute among several other music industry personalities. The man behind the music, the legendary Carl Davis, is a biography of Carl Davis that was published in 2011. Davis, who was 77 years old, passed of pulmonary fibrosis on August 9, 2012. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song that Carl Davis produced?